Right, hello, welcome to one of our core skills videos for Year 9. These will be teaching you core skills that you're going to need right through the next couple of years. So in Year 9, we need to focus on building up a couple of things, and these few things will help you massively in the next 3 years. We're going to build on them in Year 10, and again, they'll get built on in Year 11 and 12. That means that you really want to be mastering these skills now so that you don't have to be playing catch up in the next few years. So one of the core skills we're going to look at is how to write about a technique. You'll often get questions and almost always get questions about how to write about a technique. You'll be asked about what's the effect of this, what's the effect of this, and you want to be able to follow a pattern to make sure that you're answering that question to the very best of your ability. So here we go. The pattern we're going to use is TEE. T. So you might get some kind of question like this: explain the effect of one language technique in the speech extract below. And the quote is, "We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the streets, we shall fight in the hills, we shall never surrender." A very famous quote by Winston Churchill during World War II. Now, a couple of key things to notice about this question. Number one, it's asking for the effect of one language technique. That means we need to find one technique and then be able to talk about what it does. The pattern that we're going to use to do that is TEE. Now, if we're looking for a technique, probably the most obvious one is this "we shall fight" that keeps coming up. We shall fight, we shall fight, we shall fight, we shall fight 4 times. So we're going to call that repetition because it's repeating of the words "we shall fight." So we're going to follow the pattern TEE for this. That stands for technique, example, effect. So we're going to show you how to answer a question based on this. Here we go. So if we're starting with technique, we've talked about the idea of repetition, and technique is asking you to explain what is the technique being used. This is the first part of our sentence. What is the technique being used? We need to say what it is. So a demonstration response might be for this question, in the speech extract, the speaker has used repetition. Now, you wouldn't normally underline the technique. We're just doing it here to show you that that's what we're doing in this answer. But in the speech extract, the speaker has used repetition. Right there, we've explained clearly what the technique being used is. Then we move on to the example. This is where you give the specific example or quote. So you're being really specific about what it actually is. It's not enough to just to say repetition. We need to prove we actually know what repetition means and what's being repeated. So we say, of the words "we shall fight." Again, don't underline it normally. We're just underlining to show you the answer in this particular response. So far we have, in the speech extract, the speaker has used repetition of the words "we shall fight." So we've done T and we've done E. We've used the technique and we've made sure that we've given the example or the quote. Now, effect is where things get a little bit more complicated and you've got to think about it a bit more. Effect is asking you, what effect does the technique create? What are they trying to do? What impact does it have on us? So if we're thinking about repetition, normally repetition is used to emphasize something or to bring something out more strongly, a particular idea. Whatever's being repeated, they're normally wanting you to remember. So we could say something like this. Repetition of the words "we shall fight" to create an aggressive tone and inspire the responder to join him in his battle. So it's an inspiring speech, getting people to fight, and repeating "we shall fight." Repeating that word "fight" is an aggressive tone. It gives you an aggressive feeling behind what's going on. And it's kind of inspiring. It's meant to get us to join. It's meant to get us to rise up and join the battle with him. So we've used each one of these. We've used T, E, and E, and we've answered this question at a Year 9 level really well. One thing that's important to notice is that the last E is about half of the response. It's 3 lines, and T and E is 3 lines. Your effect needs to be probably about 50% of your answer because it's the most complicated bit and it's the bit that's really going to get you clear to whoever's marking or whoever's reading your responses that you know exactly what the effect is. It's the hardest bit. It's the bit that's worth the most. So you need T and E, the first two, to kind of prove you know what you're talking about. And then that effect, that's where you put your personal touch into the response. So don't just write a few words for that last E. You want to really be specific and clear. So here's the response all together. Don't write it on separate lines like we did in the previous slide. You actually want to just have it in one sentence, but we broke it up so you could see it. But here it is. In the speech extract, the speaker has used repetition of the words "we shall fight" to create an aggressive tone and inspire the responder to join him in his battle. That right there is a great response and one that will see you doing really well. So have a practice. Make sure that if you're ever asked about a technique, you're hitting those 3 points: T, E, E.